say thank you, Cisco Home, for having us hosting this wonderful event. And thank you, Abby, thank you just so much. You've been wonderful. And I thank all of you for attending and just, our discussion on how to create your dream home without losing your mind and losing your wallet. Now, let me begin introducing you to our wonderful panelists. Wonderful architect, Richard Blumenberg, not Bloomberg. You could ask him what's going on with the finances here. Blumenberg. Richard Blumenberg is an award-winning LEED accredited professional architect, founded RLB Architecture in 1997, and specializes in high-quality custom residential architecture for both new homes and renovations. During his 30 years of practice, he has designed over 200 richly detailed residences in a variety of architectural styles. Richard's projects range from a luxurious master suite to a whole house remodel with extensive additions to newly built homes over 10,000 square feet. His diverse range of clients appreciate his attention to detail and direct personal service. He is also the consulting architect for 4 homeowner associations in Los Angeles. That's pretty good. His work has been published in Lux, House and Garden, California Homes, Los Angeles Homes and Decor, as well as the Los Angeles Home Book. So what we have is we have group questions for our panelists. Share with the audience 1 or 2 crucial things they should do to ensure a successful remodeling and furnishing project. Richard, how would you answer that question?
If you have a budget, you need to tell your architect and interior designer what your budget is before the project starts. Otherwise, what will happen is that you'll go out to bid, everything will be ready to start, and you'll find out it's more expensive than you want to spend. And by that time, you'll love the house, you won't want to give up anything, and you'll have a real problem. The other thing that you need to do is you need to make decisions in a timely manner. There's an abundance of decisions that you'll have to make in a project, from all the finishes in the house, how they're laid out, wood floors, appliances, plumbing fixtures, and you have to decide if you have the will to make all the decisions. And because if you don't, you're going to hold up the project. So that's really an important thing.
Well, great. Thank you very much. So we're going to have question number 2. What is the value of creating a design-build team at the beginning of your project?
What you get with a design-build team is you get a group of individuals who are committed to work together for the better of the project. And as a result of that, because you have their knowledge all the way through, you'll have the minimum of changes. Quite often, you'll hire an architect and then later down the line bring an interior designer in. And the interior designer may have ideas, which would mean massive changes to the drawings. So it's better to know that up front so everything is done. The other thing that's really a great thing is when you have a contractor on board, you can establish a budget for the project. And as you're making decisions on which item to choose in the design, the contractor can price it out. So you really get the best dollar for your value. And that's really the best thing for the project.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Okay, our third question. Briefly describe the services you provide to your clients.
Well, first I meet with the client and talk about their wish list. And that's the things that must be included in the project and the things that they like to have if possible. Then we go through books and magazines to look at pictures to determine the styles and the features that they like. Then I research code and any homeowners association regulations. And then I meet frequently with the homeowner to discuss the design. If the budget is a concern, at the end of the preliminary design phase, we get bids from a contractor to get a ballpark budget for the project, to make sure that it's in budget before we proceed in the working drawings. The working drawings are the documents that allow the contractor to build a project. It includes cabinet drawings that show what the cabinets look like, different kinds of construction details, and the structural engineering. After those are done, we go out to bid. And usually what I'll do is I'll on the bids, create a spreadsheet and compare the bids item by item to see if a contractor has missed anything or it's really out of whack, either high or low. And we discuss those things before the contract is signed. We also handle running the project through the building department and get the permits ready to pull. And during construction, I'll come out once a week to make sure that the contractor is building the project per the construction documents and answer any questions. And if there is any work that's done that's not up to the standard of quality that's been specified, then the contractor will have to redo it.
Great. Thank you, Richard. What advice would you give the audience about choosing someone in your field?
Basically, you need to look at their portfolio and go through houses they've done to see if they're doing a style that's similar to what you want. And also, you need to talk to their references to see how they've worked with them, to see if they would be a good fit for you. And also, a very important thing is to make sure that the person that you're hiring is the person that's going to be doing the work on your project. Quite often, an architect is a salesman, and then once they get the job, you'll be assigned to the draftsperson, and that's all you'll deal with on the job. So make sure that the person who you are hiring is the one that's working on the project.
Great answer. How does an architect help to protect an owner during construction?
Well, the most important thing that I do is I create very complete drawings and specs that cover all aspects of the new house or remodel so that the contractor knows exactly what he needs to build and there's no guesswork. The other thing that I do is I also review the contractor's agreement to make sure that his payment schedule is fair to the owner and the contractor. And I establish a payment methodology in the project. We also, in the payment process, we make sure that any time a payment is made, that all the lien releases are given before the next payment is due. And what a lien is a contractor or a material supplier would have has the ability to put a lien on your house, regardless of whether or not you pay the contractor. So in order for them to have that right, they have to send you what's called a preliminary 20-day notice. And that's a way of notifying you that they are doing work on the project. And that's why when we approve a payment and the contractor wants his next payment, we make sure that the lien releases are provided so that you're protected with that payment. The other thing that I do is I observe the work once a week to make sure that the project is built right. And I work with the contractor to resolve any questions.
Great, thank you. Okay, one more question for you here. What are the new green requirements for a house that are now required by law?
The old days when you could take a house and demo it and throw it in a dumpster are over. Now what you have to do is you have to recycle or reuse 50% of any demolition product. You also, there's conservation for water and electricity. For power, you have to have all your equipment and appliances Energy Star rated. And for plumbing, you have to reduce the water consumption by 20%. And you do that by either low-flow toilets, faucets. When you have your irrigation system, you have to use controllers that have either sensors in the ground that measure the moisture in the ground, or rain data, so that the sprinklers will not be used in the rain. The other thing is that all the different fumes and materials that used to make people sick have been basically curtailed. Among them, there's VOC limits in carpet, resilient floors, all paints and coatings now. And also, there's no formaldehyde allowed in plywood or wood products. The other thing that's new, which I'm sure people will not be happy about, is that wood-burning fireplaces are no longer allowed in residential. And the AQMD has determined that they're polluting. So not only do you have to use a gas fireplace, but you also have to have a fixed piece of glass at the fireplace opening. And so there's no way that anyone can cheat and burn wood if they wanted to, which is what a lot of people did in the past, by the way.
Wow.
The other thing that in a new house or major remodel, you now have to put an outlet in the garage for an electric vehicle, and you have to show at least 250 square feet of your roof area and pre-wire for a solar electric system.
Now we're going to open up the floor for questions to the panelists. So anybody have any questions? Does the architect pull the permits or the contractor? Question for Richard.
The architect basically gets everything ready to pull a permit. The architect cannot pull a permit. Either the owner or a contractor has to pull the permit, but we get it all ready to pull, everything, all the corrections done, and then the contractor or the owner pulls the permit. The other thing that the contractor has to provide in pulling the permit, they have to show they have a contractor's license and also workman's comp.
Question is, there's a lot of questions regarding the budget. So how do you establish that? Who would like to answer that?
We can't establish your budget. You have to know how much you want to spend.
Good
So
answer.
that's really the bottom line. I mean, we can, if you tell us a range of costs that you want to be within, we can try and make the plans work within that, but we can't tell you what the budget, except for after the drawings are done.
Well, what I want to say is thank you, everybody, again for coming, and how to create your dream home from those special professionals, and thank you to the panelists and Cisco for hosting this event. And we're going to, and David Keaton, thank you, it was your idea.